US President Donald Trump and his Democratic rival Joe Biden are about to face off in the first of 3 debates ahead of November's election. They will take the stage in Cleveland, Ohio first, and topics include the pandemic, the US Supreme Court, and anti-racism protests. For more, we're joined now by Simon Marks. Simon, you know, this debate is anticipated to draw a massive crowd, not just in the United States, globally as well. Ohio wasn't the first pick for a venue. Why Ohio, and what's at stake in this first encounter?
Well, I think for a couple of different reasons. I mean, the principal reason as to why it's happening in Ohio is basically because Case Western University and the Cleveland Clinic would agree to host it. The Commission on Presidential Debates that arranges these things had initially planned for this first debate to take place at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, but they pulled out because of COVID-19. And so there was then a crazy scramble that got underway to find an alternative venue, and Case Western University stepped up. Ohio, of course, is a crucial swing state. Traditionally, both parties like these debates to be held in swing states rather than, for example, in a place like New York, which everyone knows is going to vote Democratic, or Mississippi, which everyone knows is going to vote Republican, because the candidates want to reach floating, undecided voters who live in those battleground states, the states that sometimes vote Republican, sometimes vote Democrat, but always decide the outcome of these presidential elections. And that is precisely what is at stake tonight. The numbers in this presidential race have not moved now for 11 weeks. Joe Biden has a commanding national lead of between 8 and 10 points in most polls, and a reasonable lead in most of the battleground states. He wants to persuade any voters flirting with the idea, if there are any out there, of voting for Donald Trump to stay with him. And Donald Trump, by contrast, wants to persuade some of those voters who might be flirting with the idea of abandoning Joe Biden to do precisely that.
And Simon, both candidates, both their track records will be up for debate and discussion tomorrow or later today. What can we expect to hear? Where will be the points of attack?
Well, I think it's going to be absolutely an electrifying 90 minutes. I think there's no question about that. First of all, we have to look at the body language and the way in which Joe Biden and Donald Trump face off against one another. Remember, at one of the debates 4 years ago, Donald Trump created controversy when he appeared to walk around Hillary Clinton, and there was a lot of fairly, some viewers thought, aggressive body language going on. It's not clear how these two men are going to handle one another. They come from such completely different political traditions and philosophical outlooks. Joe Biden is clearly, immediately, I suspect, going to raise this new issue now that we know that Donald Trump has paid basically no income tax for most of the past 20 years. But Biden's also going to want to talk about Trump's handling of COVID-19, the state of the economy, and other issues that he believes mitigate in his favor. Donald Trump, by contrast, is going to want to try and keep the focus on some of those issues that he believes his supporters passionately care about, including racial tension and violence in America's cities. There's an entire segment on that in the debate tonight. And he will point to the economy as being an issue of strength for him, having built, he says, a strong economy the first time around. Now he wants to do it all over again. But I think it's going to be not just the topics that they discuss, but the manner of the discussion, because you couldn't find two candidates cut from more different political cloth.
Well, presumably because of safe distancing measures, both of these men are going to be in a fashion of sort of tethered to those podiums, so Donald Trump won't be able to walk around too much. They've been preparing for this in their own sort of way, holding mock debates and so on. But who's seen as the stronger debater here, Simon? Who's going to come out looking more presidential?
Well, more presidential, I think most observers would probably argue Joe Biden is going to come out looking more presidential, because Donald Trump has redefined the notion of the term looking presidential over the course of the last 4 years. He doesn't. I mean, even he concedes that he doesn't look presidential. But who's the stronger debater? Well, Joe Biden in his younger days used to be an extraordinarily strong performer in debates. but he's not as young as he once was. And don't forget that if he wins this election, at the age of 78 next January, he'll be the oldest man ever sworn in to serve a first term of office in the White House. Donald Trump is a pugilist. He's a boxer. He's a wrestler. He's a fighter. He's an absolute terrier during these debates. We saw that during the encounters with Hillary Clinton. He is absolutely not going to let go during the course of this debate. And one of the big questions that we're going to be looking for tonight here, tomorrow morning there, is how is fact-checking conducted in this debate? Donald Trump has said he's going to be Joe Biden has said he will fact-check on the floor of the debate. That's going to be hugely problematic for him.
This isn't going to be one to miss. Simon, thank you very much for that. Simon Marks there in Washington, D.C.